is up, guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome to Tactical Solutions, AC Milan versus Venezia, game day 5 of the Serie. Today we're going to discuss the tactical approaches that we saw by both coaches, Venezia and AC Milan. A lot to talk about, quite interesting tactical game. Yesterday, I want to say, is the reason why they call the Italian league a tactical league. And I have a lot of positive things to say about Venezia, to be honest with you. And I just want to go over what we can deduct regarding AC Milan and how they approached the game. And then we'll do a nice analysis, interact with the chat today, and feed off some ideas and so forth. All right. In the meantime, let me say hi to Skillard. What's up, Skillard? Skillard, one of the OG mods here. Tick Size, also an OG here. What's up, Tick Size? Tick Size and Skillard, how you guys doing? Hope everything is good. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. We have Filtri Permatasari. What's up? Okay, guys, so let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any time. AC Milan, Venezia. So right away, let's talk about Milan. What's up, Bilal from Manchester? Thank you. Let's talk right away about AC Milan and what Pioli did and what that means for the upcoming games. So Pioli, as you know, we had that famous picture roaming around the internet of the infirmary. Basically, you have Krunic, Ibrahimovic, Giroud, Bakayoko, Messias in there, and someone else I'm pretty much forgetting. What's up, Eastbourne? How you doing, my man? So as you guys know, the infirmary is already packed. The season hasn't even started, and already the infirmary is packed. So Pioli took this opportunity to use second lines and also to rest some players. And we have to give Pioli high grades because he did the right thing by taking this opportunity against, let's say, a smaller team. Venezia is a smaller team. And he, on his lines, on the defensive line was pretty much a second line, even though is Romagnoli really a second line? I mean, in many teams, he wouldn't be a second line player. Romagnoli is actually a great defender, and he's been showing that quite a lot recently with his performances. But we had Balotelli was our left fullback, Romagnoli, the center right, Romagnoli center left, Gabbia center right, and Kalulu on the right. So pretty much by definition, according to Milan's hierarchy, the second lines. So excellent. We want to give Pioli high grades because he gave an opportunity for these players to get some feel of the field. They need to know what it's like to play for AC Milan. They need to listen to the roar of the crowd. They need to experience that adrenaline. So this was the first time Balotelli started in a Serie A game. Yesterday, he made his debut as a starter. Let's talk a little bit about him in the context of the team. We're also going to talk about Kalulu in the context of the team. So let's go straight away to the fullbacks. Now, both, then we'll go into the center backs and we'll talk a little bit about the goalkeeper too. But let's talk about the role of these fullbacks and how they're being used in the AC Milan system. So one thing that I want to touch about right away about Balotelli, it was his first game. We have to be a little bit patient with him. We have to wait and see what he is really capable of. A fullback is a position that gets a lot of the ball, because basically the fullback is a player used on your chessboard to open up the play. He's a release pressure kind of position. There's always space in these areas of the field. So when the defenders are maneuvering the ball left to right, finding the fullbacks to open up the field and create space is something that you will always see in football. So it is a position that gets a lot of the ball. So it is a position that is quite easy to analyze in seeing how these players do in those positions. Balotelli. What did we see about Balotelli? We saw that Balotelli is decent at holding the ball. Maybe technically he needs to improve. A little bit discombobulated sometimes in his movement. A little bit, I want to say a little bit clumsy in the way he manages the ball. Obviously, in the Serie and in top flight football, in Champions League football, you have to be able to control the ball really close to your feet. You have to be very composed on the ball in order to be successful in these big time compositions. So definitely a lack of composure, but physically, athletically, nothing left to be desired. The guy is an absolute 100% athlete. His stamina looked really good for that 45 minutes or about an hour. He played about an hour. And that up and down the field is good fitness. Showed positive indications that this player can become a valuable player for AC Milan. But, offensively, Balotelli didn't show much. Honestly, he didn't show anything, if we really want to be honest about it. Balotelli, I can't think of any dangerous crosses he put in. He tried to dribble players on this side. There were moments where he overlapped with Leao and found himself in this side of the pitch, but he tended to have difficulty, maneuvering his way into space and creating a little channel for him to cross the ball in. We didn't see much of that. So honestly, at the end of the day, Balotelli was not an offensive option. And in our system, the left fullback, mostly because of how Theo Hernandez plays, is an offensive option. So yesterday, we started the game with what is usually an offensive option less. I mean, he tried to do it. Let's give the guy time. Let's see if he can do it. But his possession in this area of the field was very good. We have to give him that. His possession in the middle of the field was good. He interacted with the midfielders. He interacted with Brahim Diaz. We saw Brahim Diaz move to this side of the pitch a lot and collect the ball. So Brahim Diaz does operate more so with the left fullback than the right fullback. We did see him do some nice 1-2s and some nice dialogue between him and Brahim Diaz. Obviously, the left fullback and the left winger need to have a lot of dialogue with the ball, and we saw a lot of overlaps and we saw a lot of passes between them two. And that aspect there worked, but it provided no danger. It provided no punch to our opposition. So Balotelli, we are happy the guy played. We're happy we saw him. Now, Kalulu. Let's talk about Kalulu. So Kalulu's second game in a row, excellent game by Kalulu. He had an excellent game against Juventus. He definitely showed us that he can play big-time football. If he can play big-time football in Juventus's stadium, in a very hostile stadium against a team with a lot of pedigree, it means you are ready for the big time. Kalulu, at this point, is ready. Kalulu is a player that you can put in these big games and produce. Now, Milan is not abandoning that starting three at the back. Kalulu keeps on being... Actually, Kalulu is perfect as a third defender, this role here as a third defender. And the reason why he's perfect at this role as the third defender is because Kalulu is excellent at going up and down the field. He is excellent at maneuvering the ball, not losing the ball. He is good with the dialogue between the midfielder. He is good with the dialogue with the winger. So his ability of possession is good. Therefore, he's a player that you can use in a more conservative role. And this is what Milan keeps on doing. Milan keeps on using our right fullback as a more conservative role. Many times during the build-up of AC Milan, we saw this kind of formation. Three in the back. And when it wasn't Kalulu, who was it? Let's see how prepared you guys are. Who was the player that came into this third? We saw Benacer, actually, who moved in this role. Actually, I want to talk about towards the end of the game. We're seeing that the midfielders are taking the spots of the fullbacks, allowing the fullbacks to go forward, and Milan keeps its shape as it builds from the back. A very interesting tactic, very fluid, a lot of coordination, a lot of understanding between the players. The chemistry has to be good. In order to do that, to have a player take off and then a midfield come and take that position and then use that position as a start and build up position, that means that the players are training well together. Pioli's way of talking to the players and talking tactics is clear. They're understanding the system. And that's an excellent positive thing. And of course, for a team that has been doing so well, it has to be the case. Anyway, now the reason why I think Kalulu is a perfect for this kind of position kind of reminds me a little bit of Danilo from Juventus. He's very solid defensively. His work rate is outstanding. His composure on the ball is outstanding, but his offensive plays still need a lot of work. It still needs a lot of work. He's another fullback that doesn't provide a lot of danger, even though yesterday he had a very nice 1-2 with Rebic that turned out pretty well. He had this very nice 1-2 with Rebic where he found Rebic in a channel, a diagonal channel, which was very nice, found Rebic in a diagonal channel, kept on moving for the run. Rebic laid off the ball, then he took the shot, and it just whizzed the post. So Kalulu actually was close to scoring a goal yesterday. He did have a shot, and he also got himself on the assist. Statistic where he played a nice interplay between Florenzi and Kalulu, did a really nice interplay, a kind of 1-2 situation. Florenzi moved into the box, Kalulu crossed, and Florenzi, similar trajectory of the ball, then headed the ball towards diagonally, but whizzed against the post. So Kalulu could have gotten on the score sheet and could have gotten himself an assist. So aside from those two plays, Kalulu did not offer much offensively, but as far as being an option on this side of the field, he's always tidy. He always protects the ball. He knows when not to commit. This is very important. This is very important for the intelligence of a player. When you have the ball, you do not want to overcommit. You don't want to dribble and then lose the ball and then concede a counterattack. That is not what you want to do. You want to come back and then go back to the midfield. Basically, be patient. You want to be patient with that ball. And that is what we saw from Kalulu. Guys, give me a second here. Let me just mute this. So overall, our two fullbacks starting from the bench, our two second lines are showing very good signs that we have depth. Kalulu much more Kalulu much more effective, let's say, much more ready. I know that's improper English. He's he's more prepared for AC Milan. Balotelli just still trying to figure out his way. So, that's what we have been seeing. Milan keeps on adopting this tactic. The two center backs, both Romagnoli and Gabbia, I got to say, in distribution yesterday, Gabbia looked very good. There were moments that Romagnoli had some let's say poor moments when it came to distributing the ball, but overall his game, his presence, him being in positions. Romagnoli, we saw him come forward. We saw him try to even operate as an added attacker at sometimes. He had a really good slide tackle in the second half when I think it was the only time that we saw Venezia come to attack us Romagnoli did a great interception. Both Romagnoli and Gabbia, excellent game. I wasn't too sure about the substitution. I would have personally kept on Gabbia to the 90th minute, even though the reason why Pioli probably put Tomori in is because if we had a corner or a dead ball kind of situation, Tomori would have been very valuable for those kind of situations. Okay, so defensive line, Pioli's approach is always the same. It's always the same thing. They start 3 in the back, and then as the play progresses, as Milan squashes the team in its own half, then this player here, the right, then transmutates into a fullback. This hybrid fullback, hybrid center back position we keep on seeing. Very good. And then the two midfielders sometimes come down to the defensive line and act as they take the place of one of the defenders, as I was saying earlier. So it's a very interesting way of building. We saw it. He started doing this last season, Pioli, and it works. It works very well. The two midfielders, both of them, Tonali and Benacer, look very good. Both of them are moving the ball around. A lot of fluidity in the way they move the ball around. They find the wings and they try to play with Brahim Diaz. But let's talk about the problems. Let's talk about the problems and the reasons why Milan in the first half had a lot of difficulty being dangerous, pretty much. And this brings me to Venezia. I have to really compliment Venezia. I think Venezia is going to probably be a very good team coming up in the near future. Venezia came to the San Siro and played short football from the back for 90 minutes. So this tells me this is a team that doesn't really care too much about the results right now, but they want to learn how to play the modern football, build them from the back and then making your way up. Venezia, doing that at the San Siro. Is Venezia the next Sassuolo? Could they be the next small team that then turns out to be a big team or a bigger team? Could it be? Could it be? Because it was very impressive to see Venezia do that. If you guys remember against Cagliari, AC Milan, when AC Milan was pressuring, Cagliari did the same thing. They started playing short from the back, and then AC Milan started to with their high pressure winning the ball. Then Cagliari decided, okay, we're just going to play long. Venezia did not do that. Venezia, even though they were putting the team at risk, they kept on playing short from the back. I have to give a lot of compliments to Venezia. Zanetti, he was a great player when he was a player. He looks like to be a really good coach. The team was extraordinarily organized. Defensively, it was almost impossible for Milan to break through that defensive wall. Which brings me to this. We saw it against Liverpool, and we saw it yesterday against Venezia. When Milan face a team that plays 4-3-3, and a 4-3-3 defensive posture is 4 in the back and 5 across the middle, and then the one player here roaming, Milan has a lot of difficulty finding these channels, these vertical channels. Pioli needs to figure this out because 4-3-3 is a formation that is used a lot. 4-3-3 is a formation that is used. A lot of teams play with 4-3-3. We cannot struggle like this every time we play against a 4-3-3. So Pioli needs to figure it out. Against Liverpool played a 4-3-3, but their defensive line was all the way up here. Their midfield line, rather, was all the way up here. They had that 4 right here, and these 4 were right here. And Milan was having a lot of difficulty finding the players in between these lines, and Liverpool was disrupting our play, taking the ball from us in these positions and then attacking right away. Against Venezia, of course, Venezia does not have the quality of Liverpool. It was basically the same thing, except Venezia's defensive line We did not lose the ball in that position against Venezia. We were able to push Venezia down, but Venezia pretty much brought that block all the way down here. Basically, these two walls that were very difficult for Milan to break through. So what Pioli needs to figure this out. Pioli needs to figure this out. A lot of teams play this kind of formation. A lot of teams play this kind of have this kind of tactical solution. So what do we do? Because even against a small team like Venezia that just came from Serie B, Milan struggled to break through. The spaces between the lines here is almost inexistent. We saw many times that when the ball was passed through the lines, you had defenders that were straight on the back of the striker. Rebic was pretty much ineffective for the most part in that position. I mean, this is when you need those extraordinary players with extreme physique like Ibrahimovic that are able to shield the ball and then wait for the penetrating runs, and then he can do a 1-2 kind of thing. But if we don't have Ibrahimovic or we don't have a target man there, I think even Giroud would have struggled yesterday. I mean, Giroud would have been good to receive crosses. I mean, when you play against a team like this that over fills the center, then we saw it a lot of times even last year. You kind of forced to play in these crosses, and Giroud is an expert at connecting with the crosses. So maybe Giroud would have helped there, but Giroud wouldn't have helped a ball on the ground, because we saw, by the way, they have Caldara. Yesterday, Caldara showed to be a great defender. He made it very difficult for Rebic to have anything. Big props to Caldara. He's still an AC Milan player. Unfortunately, riddled with injuries. But he struggled. Our attack struggled yesterday, and so what is Pioli going to do about this? I mean, how many teams are there, right? Especially in the Champions League, there are a lot of teams play with a 4-3-3, and we need to figure out how to break down a 4-3-3. Last year was a 3-5-2 that was giving us problems, but there's a common denominator here: 5. That 5 in the middle, that wall of 5. This is what I call the podcast today, that wall of 5. What will Milan do to break this wall of 5? We'll have to see. Now, of course, what Milan did in this particular game was put in a fresh legs like Hernandez at the 65th minute. At that point, Venezia has been defending for 65 minutes. You put fresh in legs of the quality of Theo Hernandez. Okay, that breaks down Venezia. But a team like Liverpool at the 65th minute is still running like crazy, and they're still pressing high. So you can't put Theo Hernandez at the 65th minute to solve the game against a team like Liverpool. Against a smaller team like Venezia, that can work. So what do we do? What does Milan do? Honestly, it's hard to say on the fly. These are things that they have to figure out in practice. They have to figure out in training. They have to figure out drills on how to maybe bait players out. One thing that Liverpool did very expertly with us, they baited our players out of position and then used that space that those players moved out from to find players between our lines. So maybe that's what we have to do. I mean, you have to be creative in training and come up with these formations. It's up to you to come up with solutions. For example, maybe let's say if Brahim Diaz has a player following him there, use that moment to find Rebic here, and that's how you bait players out of position and then use that space. I mean, that's something that in the coaching world you do train, but it's not easy. It's not easy to do that. Milan needs to figure this out. They need to figure out really fast. So that's something that we just see. And I have to give a lot of compliments to Venezia because they contained us very, very well. Now, with Leao, for example, yesterday, Leao tried to be offensive yesterday, but even him, he had difficulty because he did not have someone else to create space for him. But when we did see Theo Hernandez come in, Theo Hernandez with much more quality, Theo Hernandez right away, the first thing that Theo Hernandez did yesterday actually was, was do this really nice 1-2 with Leao, which Leao was here on the wing, and Theo Hernandez found this really precise ball between the spaces, and that was already indication of quality, talent. You see, Balotelli would have not been able, does not have the quality to find this kind of trajectory. I mean, the channel was very tight, and Theo Hernandez found a very tight channel for Leao, and then Leao crossed the ball. So, I mean, that's the thing. Either you have a quality that can break these lines, or you do it on the training ground and you figure out a way to do it on the training ground. Then, of course, at that point, Milan just with the introduction of Salamakers, the Hernandez, and Tomori, even though Tomori was kind of ineffective, I mean, what's the point of subbing in Tomori at that point as far as your gameplay goes? They were able, and then dribbling. What was the key of this game? The key of this game was Salamakers dribbling players, and then finding themselves between the lines. Essentially, the best way to disrupt a team is to get your players in between their lines. If this is the line of a 4-3-3, you want to make sure that you find the player that is in between the lines. So right now, that number 7 is a player in between the line. And once you are capable of breaking these lines and then attacking just the defense, then your team gains dominion over your opposing team. So my take out of yesterday and basically the previous games, especially against Liverpool and a little bit against Juventus, is that Milan right now is struggling to beat a midfield line of 5. That wall of 5 is a problem. And right now, if I was Pioli, that's what I would be focusing on. How to break these lines effectively, but from the beginning. From right away, because Liverpool broke our lines right away. From the first minute, Liverpool was able to bait players out of position and then exploit the channels that were left. Milan needs to be able to do the same thing if they want to compete at high levels. We need to study our opponents much better. We need to execute our game plans much better, and then take our chances. Now, our defensive shape yesterday against Venezia, honestly, didn't really matter that much because from an individual standpoint, Venezia, since they left a lot of players behind, didn't attack with many players. So when you're only attacking with 1 or 2 players, your shape doesn't matter that much. Then at that point, it's just the one-on-one duels or the zonal duel. So our defensive shape, in general, of course it matters, of course it's important, of course it was very difficult to beat, but against a team like Venezia that plays a low block, it's not that important. But against a team that has a lot of quality, where you're not going to win those one-on-one duels, your defensive shape is the most important thing. Kind of like what Venezia did with us. How did Venezia keep us at bay? With their defensive shape. When you face a team that has a lot of quality, it's your defensive shape that matters. That's what matters. That's what allows the team you're playing against to either play fluid football or to disrupt their game. So yesterday, I'm not gonna talk about our defensive shape. Yesterday, it was it's kind of pointless to talk about our defensive shape against a team that plays a low block. But anyway, these are the takes that I got from yesterday. I do want to say something about Florenzi. Florenzi is starting to grow into the team. Yesterday, he had three opportunities to score. There was an opportunity where Leao did a really nice play here on the wing, and Leao did a really nice play on the wing, low cross in the middle. Florenzi was very close, like inches away from that ball. He could have had a nice tap in. The reason why I want to talk about this is because right now there's a narrative going on about Florenzi, that he's useless, that blah blah blah. Listen, we must not stick to narrative. We don't have to be biased towards our own narratives. Let's see what's actually going on. In general, Florenzi is still very shy, very timid. He's not participating in the play as much, but there are signs of growth. And then there was another moment where Florenzi was doing a very tidy 1-2 passes between him and Kalulu. Very nice 1-2 passes, and then he found himself in a very nice position. Kalulu with a nice cross, Florenzi with a really good header, but but he didn't score. But it was another opportunity. And then there was another opportunity where Florenzi found himself in a very good area right here. A high cross came in. He tried the acrobatic volley, but the ball didn't connect. And then there was a very nice play between Florenzi and Salamakers in this area of the field that was a high quality technique where Florenzi received a difficult ball, high ball, chested the ball to Salamakers. Salamakers played went one-touch football back to Florenzi, and then Florenzi with a one-touch found Brahim Diaz between the lines diagonally. So we're starting to see what Florenzi can add to this team, but of course he has to be able to do that for 90 minutes. And in the coaching world that I have a lot of experience in, players are always a work in progress. It is very rare to have players that come in and they have immediate impact. You have to wait for players to get an immediate impact. But there are players with immediate impact. Giroud is a player that has had immediate impact. Salamakers is a player that still needs to grow. Tomori is a player that had immediate impact. Kessie is a player that took a long time before we saw what Kessie is made of. Benacer, it took him 1 year to see what Benacer is made of. Tonali, it took him 1 season, and finally we're starting to see quality from Tonali. So players need to find themselves, need to understand the system, and it usually takes a little bit of time before a player can completely immerse himself. Because Florenzi is a player of great intelligence, great technical ability, and great experience, I am positive that in maybe next month or in the space of 2 months, this player is going to be very important. He's going to have a very important season. We started to see the signs yesterday. Overall, winning 2 points against Venezia is more important than winning 3 points against Venezia is more important than winning points against the big teams. Why do I say that? Because how many times have we finished towards the last games of the season where we are 3 points from the top, or we are 4 points from the top 4, and we look back and we say, why are we 4 points? And people say, well, because we didn't beat Juventus. Well, because we weren't able to beat Roma. No, the reason is because we weren't able to beat these small teams. But when you beat these small teams, then your excuses shrink and you have less excuses. And winning points against these small teams in order to win the Scudetto or to challenge for the Scudetto is imperative. That's why right now, when it comes to Spezia and Venezia, Spezia it's a game that we're playing next. Winning against Spezia is imperative. Right now, Milan should be fighting for the Scudetto, guys. Why should Milan should not be fighting for the 4th position? At this point, Milan should be fighting for the Scudetto. We know what we're made of. We know what the team is. The team now should not have insecurities. There's no doubt. There's no doubts Milan has the personnel to challenge for the Scudetto. But other teams do have. It doesn't mean that other teams don't. But Milan does. Milan, if you play your cards right, you can win the Scudetto. So winning these games is important, is extremely important. And so far, so good. Okay, guys, so that was the Tactical Solutions video. This is what we saw yesterday. Let's see what we will see tomorrow. Let's see if there anything else I'm missing. I guess we saw a little bit of Pellegrini, not enough to really judge what he's made out of. One thing I did notice about Pellegrini that I was looking at, because I rewatched the game yesterday after we did the watch along, then I rewatched it again just to see all the details that I missed. One thing that I did notice about Pellegrini that he's got a lot of composure. And the thing about Pellegrini is a freak of nature. Pellegrini is a freak of nature. He's one of those, kind of genetic lottery winner kind of guys. At 20 years old, he has the body of a 27-year-old. I mean, that is crazy. So what is this guy going to look like when he's 27? If Pellegrini does not get riddled with injuries and works hard and puts his head into the game, the ceiling can be incredible, because from an athletic standpoint, we're talking about a player that is 20 years old that has the muscle fibers of a 27-year-old. This is a freak of nature. Pellegrini is a freak of nature. Might that be the reason why he gets a lot of muscle injuries? Because his muscle fibers are maybe too advanced for his age? Could that be one of the reasons? I don't know. Who knows? But one thing that I did realize from Pellegrini, he is very aware of his physical prowess. Therefore, he's very composed on the ball. And even when you have simple plays, you can tell whether a player has swag or composure. Just one touch, one pass, right? Like, for example, look at Balotelli. Balotelli does not have composure. Balotelli is a player that makes a lot of movement. His body is very hectic. One touch, the ball goes a little bit too far than it should, then a little bit of too much body movement and passes the ball. So composure is a big aspect of high-level football. Pellegrini has a lot of composure, even by just when he wasn't under pressure, nice passes, just simple play. Good. Let's hope that we can see a lot of him this season. Hopefully that would be good. Let's see what happens. Salamakers is growing. Salamakers is growing, and Pioli said it as well, that he needs to up his stats in the offensive department when it comes to assists and goals. And Salamakers yesterday was interviewed by Milan, the Milan channel people, and he said he's aware that he's not producing as much as he should be, and that yesterday was a game in which he was able to do what he's supposed to do, which is not only be the balance act between midfield, offense, and defense, but also as an offensive player, create offensive opportunities. We saw that from him yesterday. He kind of changed the game. And also, I saw the interview of Zanetti, the other coach, who lots of praises. Zanetti, guys, watch out for Zanetti. Watch out for Zanetti, because the way Venezia played, the organization Venezia had was incredible. Incredible, guys. A lot of respect. Watch out for Zanetti in the near future. This might be one of the next big coaches in Italy. So watch out for Zanetti. But Zanetti, he said, that the team did really well, but then, Milan has the luxury of putting on champions like Salamakers, like Hernandez, Quesito, Mori, and these guys can change the game for you. So now our players from other coaches are seen as big-time players, right? The perspective, there is respect. And you're starting to the hierarchy in AC Milan is starting to develop, and players are being recognized for being big time players. When a coach, even though it's Venezia, doesn't matter, still a Serie A coach, that acknowledges the fact that when you can put Salamakers from the bench, Teo Hernandez from the bench, Kessie from the bench, Tomori from the bench, you're a big team. You're a team that has quality. And also big props to Pioli for his rotation. The rotation worked perfectly. Good job for Pioli. Now let's see what he does with the rotation against Spezia. I know Giroud is back. Will he play against Spezia? Probably, maybe. I don't know. I think we might see I don't know if Calabria is ready against Spezia. We'll see. I guess tomorrow we'll find out what the situation is with AC Milan, and we'll figure that out. But right now, against Spezia, are we playing home or away? I don't know. What is this deal here against Spezia? Are we playing home or away? Does anybody know in the chat if we're playing home or away tomorrow? Let me check. Or Saturday. Is it home or away? Home or away? Away. Okay, so Skillard tells us that we're playing away. The team was a Milanello to prepare for Saturday's away day, the reporting getting. So two away games. Sorry, one home game and one away game. Away, Milan has a good record, but Spezia, for some reason, against us last year turned into prime Barcelona. So we got to watch out for Spezia, and I wouldn't make the mistake of thinking because we got the result against Venezia, then that automatically gives us the result against Spezia. Again, winning 3 points away against Spezia is super, super, super important. I would not give these players any kind of mental, psychological break. I would keep them on their toes. I would definitely keep them on their toes. I would prepare this game with a lot of seriousness. I would not prepare this game thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. So I don't think Pioli does not have that in him. I haven't seen that from Pioli. I saw it from Ancelotti, to be honest with you. We saw it from many coaches, actually, with Montella, Mihailovic. We saw it from Seedorf. We saw it from Seedorf. We saw it from many coaches that they prepare these games. And I want to talk about this a little bit. Milan is addicted to prestige. Milan is addicted to prestige. And Eastbourne says it's an early kickoff. Early kickoff's always a pain in the ass in the sun. And less prestigious. Milan has a problem. They commit a sin, the sin of luxury or prestige. I don't know what you want to call it. What it is. What's the word? I don't know what the word is. But they commit the sin that if the game is not prestigious enough, they don't take it seriously enough. And too many times this has happened, and this needs to be fixed. And it can be fixed. It's all a mental thing. I think that Pioli has shown us that he does have the ability to transmit to the team how important these games are. But also Pioli has been caught. We have lost points against these teams, even against Pioli. So it is extremely important. Now I want to check right away. What formation does Spezia use? Spezia Juventus. So you can think that you can assume that Spezia will approach the game similar to Juventus, because these teams, when they face bigger teams, they kind of have a similar approach. So let's check this. Let's see what formation they used. Okay. Why isn't it not showing me? Or maybe you guys know. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna share the screen and just see. All right, I gotta use Google. I gotta use Google. Google. Okay. I'm going to go to Google. It was Juventus. Yes, Spezia Juventus. It was away. It was away for Juventus. Okay, so let's click on that and let's see the lineups. Okay, so Spezia plays with a 4-2-3-1. A 4-2-3-1 could also turn into a 5 in the middle, as you guys can see here. Juventus played with their usual 4-4-2, but as you can see there on the screen, Spezia plays with a 4-2-3-1. We can take that down, put this here. So now, last time we played against this formation was against Sampdoria. We had pretty good success against Sampdoria in dominating, having dominion over Sampdoria. But now, okay, the problem with a 4-2-3-1 is that the way you defend in a 4-2-3-1 is the defensive posture of a 4-2-3-1 is very difficult to obtain. It's one of the more difficult ones to obtain. When Milan does it, they do it very well. You can see it. Because a 4-2-3-1 essentially is not reliant on lines, but is more reliant on triangular ways of closing the channels. It's a formation that personally I have not used very much in my days of training. I've used the 4-3-3. I used the 4-4-2. I've used the 4-1-4-1. I've used the 3-5-2. I've used a formation that I created, which was a 3-3-2-2, which was we'll look at that one another time. But I didn't use. I have tried in training when you work in these facilities, they kind of go over all these formations. But it's a formation that can be very difficult in a defensive posture because as you can see it, there's a lot of space there are a lot of areas of the field in which there's a lot of space that can be exploited. Like, for example, right here, if this area here can be exploited. We saw Liverpool exploit this area here. This area here in the middle, there's a lot of space. If you can find a player in that middle, you can break the lines. Now, Milan is able to defend itself in a triangular fashion quite well. We saw it against, actually, when we had to do it was that second half against Juventus. Milan was able to make a very compact defensive 4-2-3-1. This year, more so than last year, we have to be able to do that. And maybe, guys, that is one of the reasons why we're struggling. Is because last year we did not defend in the classic 4-2-3-1 way. We defended in a 4-5-1 kind of way because Çalhanoğlu is a number 8, and Çalhanoğlu is much more suited to come down and be on the same line as the double pivots. So we saw a lot of times Milan have 5 across the middle. When we needed to. Right now, with Brahim Diaz, we don't get to see that much. Brahim Diaz is always in front of those double pivots in our defensive shape, and our winging attacking midfielders also. I haven't seen them so far come all the way down in the same line as the double pivots. We are literally defending, in some occasions, our defensive posture is the same defensive posture of a classic 4-2-3-1, a triangular way of closing the channels. Now, if Milan can exploit this and can exploit the spaces that just the double pivots leave, I don't think Juventus Spezia is going to do that. I think Spezia is going to have a line of 5. So again, we're going to see Milan play against a line of 5 in that midfield, and this can be another good opportunity for Pioli to figure out how to beat these lines of 5. So it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be an interesting game, tactically interesting. And of course, as always, I'm going to do the tactical solutions the day after. All right, guys. So that was our tactical solutions for the day. Let's see what you guys in chat are saying. Roma scored. If you guys have any opinions, any thoughts you want to share. Skiller, he's their player. Don't worry. N'Golo Kante this season. The way they defend in the last 30, 40 minutes against Juve, it's like Sunday's league defending. I did not see the game, so I'll take your word for it. I saw Pogba today, and I think he has the physicality to replace Kessie. Well, you got to fill up his bank accounts, though. Udinese midfielders are walking back like they were 10 up. So Roma winning against Udinese. Abraham getting a goal. 1-0 for Roma. Who got the assist? Does anybody know who got the assist? I'm hoping Messiah starts his first game well. We need a purely offensive right winger. Well, let's see if he is going to be used as a right winger. I'm not convinced that they're going to go with so many attacking players. Let's see if he is going. He might be used as an offensive right winger, or he might be Brahim's replacement. If Messiah's fit for the game, Brahim needs some rest. Messiah can come up from the bench. Yeah, I mean, Brahim Diaz played a full 90-minute game. Oh no, he didn't. He played 80 minutes yesterday. So not bad. That's a position where there's a lot of running. Brahim comes very deep in the field to collect the ball and then bring it up. He likes to come down all the way to that midfield line on the left to collect the ball. Lazio playing sorry ball. Lazio playing sorry ball. That's funny. Is Lazio? What's the score there? Lazio. Torino Lazio. What's the score there? One. Who scored, Skillard? Who scored for Lazio? Please give me some good news, guys, because my fantasy is just a disgrace. My fantasy football team was purely garbage. Pure garbage. Pure garbage. Immobile, yes, Immobile. I have Immobile in my fantasy league. Good. Draw. They were lucky with a penalty in the last minute. Inter Atalanta should be good game as well. Hope they draw. Yes, Inter Atalanta, and we have Atalanta right after Atletico Madrid. We have right now Spezia, one of the most important games of the season. We have Atletico Madrid. If we lose against Atletico Madrid, then the Champions League qualifications becomes very difficult. So it is we must get something out of this game against Atletico Madrid. If we lose 2 games and we're -6 by game day 2, it's difficult. If we can get a point from Atletico Madrid, and give them only a point. Then they have 2 points. We have 1 point. Let's see what Liverpool does against Porto. A draw, a tie there would be better than a win for either Porto or Liverpool. If Liverpool wins against Porto, they're going to start to separate from the pack. If Atletico and Liverpool both win, then both those teams are going to start to separate the pack. We stay fourth, Porto second. It's going to be a very interesting game. It's going to be a very interesting game. Calafiori assist for Abraham. All right. Good. Young Italian. Torino looks decent team under Juric. Torino getting some quick points from the beginning. Immobile paid the ref to stop stat pad in the league. Yes, the Fantasy League. So the Fantasy League game day 5 is about to finish in about an hour. I wonder where I am. Let's finish off with that. Let's see where I am in the Fantasy League. Let's see where I'm at. Yes, Isbon. We're going to check the Fantasy League right now. I'm going to share the screen, see how everybody's doing. Just give me 1 second to set it up. We're going to see how everybody's doing in our beloved Fantasy League. The Rossonari TV Fantasy League, guys. Let's see. Let's see what people are saying. So we had 38 votes today. Is Milan a title contender? 87% are saying yes. 13% are saying no. All right. Let's get to the Fantasy League. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, here we go. Rossonari TV, here we go. All right, so Lucas with a lot of points. I don't even think we should consider Lucas. Laert, guys, look at Laert, 71 points. Laert killed it, absolutely killed it in this round. He got 7 points from Immobile, 3 from Vlahovic, 3 from Martin, 20 points from who? Who's that? And he made him the captain. From Diaz. Diaz got himself 20 points. Well done, Laert. Piaka, Berardi 10, Di Marco. I did terribly. 75 points for Laert in the first round. Well done to him. I did absolutely terribly, as far as I know. Let's see. Eastbourne, 69 points. Eastbourne also with a great game day 5. 60, 70, 15 Aussie men. You get 14 with the Aussie men. Gosens gave you 9. Patricia 1. Not bad. Well done, Eastbourne. Well done. Then we had Paul, Youssef. Let's see. I did so poorly. Last one. Game day 5, I came last. So I still need to figure out how to play this game. I only got 7 from Immobile, 2 from Quagliarella, Dybala 4, Pellegrini 2. Hopefully I can get some more points from him. 2, Bonaventura 5, 4, Rebic. Romagnoli, I got 10 from Romagnoli, Bonucci 5. Poor showing. Not good at all. We have 60 members. We have new members joined yesterday. So, yeah, there it is. And Lucas, how many points did Lucas get yesterday? Lucas got himself 71 points. Lucas, the winner of game day 5 so far. Actually, how many did Laird get? No. 75. Laird is the winner of game day 5 with 75 points, and Lucas with 71. And I am the loser of game day 5. I get relegated to Serie B. Can we join the Fantasy League now, or is it too late? Yeah, you can join. You can join it. You can join it whenever you want. You can definitely join it. Let me get the info here to join the league. I'll share it. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, here it is. This is so go to seriefantasy.com. seriefantasy.com. Make your team. And then once you make your team, this is the code. You can use that code to join the Fantasy League. All right, guys. Well, listen, that's we are 1 hour, and that's how long I want these tactical solution videos to be. Guys, everybody, thank you very much for joining the live. We will do another live tomorrow, the Milan Forum every Friday. So join us for the Milan Forum tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for being here with me. And let's see how Milan's tactical game develops in the future. We're starting to see how Milan plays. We're starting to see what their tactical approach is. And we're starting to see what it's like to play for AC Milan. So let's see how they continue. It's still early to understand whether this Milan can go all the way. We gotta see them 15 games in, what Milan actually looks like. And then after 15 games, guys, I think I can start making real predictions whether or not Milan can beat teams and so far. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow for the Milan Forum. Everybody, thank you very much for your participation in the chat today and in the live. Arrivederci, ciao, forza Milan.